Hello, and welcome to our monthly virtual lecture. As a reminder, this lecture is being recorded and will be available on our YouTube channel in the coming days. My name is Christopher Davis, and I'm pleased to introduce our speaker today, Carla Gonzalez. Today, she will be showing us what is new in Geoscience Analyst version 3.3. She'll be highlighting k-means clustering, scripting, and the SEG-Y 3D importer, and the new seismic survey planning tool. These seismic features you will see today are the result of a collaboration between Mira Geoscience and HiSeis. If you are a new user and do not have Geoscience Analyst, you can always download the latest version, which is 3.3, from our website at mirageoscience.com. If you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to type them in our Q&A or raise your hand. Please be aware that Carla will most likely wait till the end to answer the question. Carla, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Chris. So we'll get going straight away with the SEG-Y 3D importer. So you can access that by going to the File menu, Import SEG-Y 3D file. But you can also just drag and drop that from your file explorer. Like I have here my SEG-Y. I'll bring it in. And it'll just pop up this window. So you can choose your file configuration. So we are supporting these standard SEG-Y 3D file formats. You can choose your byte locations, and in this case, the z-axis is depth. That means that z is positive going down. And you also get your 3D seismic cube dimensions. So you get the origin, the grid size, cell size, azimuth, number of cells. You can see here that the one that we're about to import is 153 million cells. And while it imports, I'll just let you know that this data is from Darlow Gold Mine in Australia, and it's a courtesy of Red 5 Limited. Okay, so here we have our seismic cube. I'll just turn on some sections, my U, V, and Z sections, and I'll also paint them by that seismic amplitude property. And this will just take a couple seconds. Okay, so now we can edit the data colors. For example, I can change the color table to seismic, or I can also make it flag like this. And I'll also change the color mapping function. I'll leave it as linear. I'll just trim it on both sides. And again, this is going to take just a couple seconds, but it shouldn't be too bad. Like that. Just a moment. Here we have it. So the same filters that you would usually use in your data colors should apply if you want to see only the high amplitude or maybe the low amplitude. That's all still the same as the usual Geoscience Analyst functionality. In terms of the visual parameters, you can make the sections smooth. You can move around your U, V, and Z sections. You can also create a section in like any given orientation. You can show volumes and also ISO values, which in this version have been updated to make it a little bit faster. So yeah, that's it. That's how to import and visualize your 3D SEG-Y files. And that's all part of Geoscience Analyst, like free import and visualization functionality. And on that same theme of seismic, I'll show you another new tool, and that's the seismic survey planning. So let me just go over there, here. So what I have here is a topography surface, and then I have these two surfaces, let's say two structures that I want to hit with my survey. So I'll go to my panels menu, survey designer. And here we have this new option, the seismic reflection survey. So I'll just click on this one. And I'll make this a little bigger. So we're going to create a new simple ray path survey. And I'll just draw my line here like this, which I can change the azimuth and the length I can add more lines, change the line spacing. In this case, I'll leave just one line. I'll keep it fairly simple, and I will increase the station spacing to 200, like that. Then I'm going to drape these source points onto my topography. I'm going to create a 2D grid that we're going to come back to in a little bit. Then I'll choose my reflection surfaces. So that's these ones right here, the pink one and the green one, and my topography. Now I'll create that. So what this did, it created 2 new objects. You'll see here that you have a new curve and a new 2D grid. And we'll start by looking at that curve. So if I select it, you'll see all of the ray paths highlighted in yellow, but I'll just highlight a couple of these. So what this tool is really doing, it's drawing the ray path from the source to every triangle on our surface. And then it is reflected back, and wherever it's reflected on our topography, it's going to draw that point that would be our receiver. And it'll do that for every triangle in our surface. Then this also has a shot ID property, so you'll be able to see what source point does every receiver correspond to. And also the surfaces. So all of these red ones were bounced off this green surface, and all of these purple ones were bounced off this purple surface. So then looking at the 2D grid really quickly, I'll just go on the top view. It has a ray count property. So what this is doing, it's counting the amount of rays in every grid cell. So I'll just show the rays again. So for example, this cell will have 22 rays that hit that area. And what that's really doing, it's just giving you an idea of the spread of where you should put your geophones. And another new thing in this version for pro users is that you can export your 2D grids, and you'll be able to export to ER Mapper and also GeoTIFF format. Great, so that was our seismic tools. So the next thing that we're going to be looking at is the script. So let me just get over to that side of the world. Here I have some outcrop rock samples, and they had their geochemical data on them. And what I'm really interested in computing is the zirconium over titanium oxide ratio. So in order to compute this, I'm going to apply a script. So I'm going to go to Utilities and Script. And here I'm going to create a new property, and I'm going to just call this one ratio. And then this is where I put in my formula. So I'll go zirconium over titanium oxide. And you'll see here a little preview of your equation. If for any reason you make a typo, let's say I put a 0 instead of an O, it will not be bolded here, and it's not recognizing the data in your samples. So if you try and apply that, it'll give you an error. So just as a rule of thumb, make sure that everything's always nice and bolded down here. Okay, so I have a ratio property now, and I'll just color that. You'll be able to see all of its statistics, and you can also change your mapping function. I'll make this equal area. A new thing here now is that we also have a display precision. You can choose how many decimal digits you want. So 3 or go back to 1. And you can also put in a scientific notation. And this is also reflected here in your data table. Great, so now we can take this script a little bit further. So what if I want to use this ratio to distinguish my igneous rocks into mafic, intermediate, and felsic? So to do that, I would apply another script. So I'll just go back to that script tool. I'm going to create a new property, and I'll call it rock type. And then I'm going to do that using an if-then statement. So if you come here to to the question mark. It'll give you like a guide of the operators, the predefined functions. It'll give you some examples and some tips. And so here I'm going to be following the if then statement. So I'll just have that on the side. And I'll say, okay, if my ratio is higher than 75, that's my condition, then if true, make this mafic. And if false, let's make it to be determined. We'll get back to those values later. And apply. Okay, I just have to color by it. There we go. So now we have our mafic rocks, which I will make this dark green, and then to be determined. So I'll just keep going like this and to put in my intermediate and my felsic. So I'll say if it's greater than or equal to 75, and it's also less than 150, make it intermediate. And if not, make it whatever value rock type already had, like this. And I'll apply that one. So here I have my intermediate. Okay. Whoops, I forgot to overwrite. Well, that's not good. There we have it. Sorry about that. Here we have it, and I have my mafic like that. Great. And then I'm going to do the same thing for my felsic. So I'll just say, if you're greater than 150, then let's make it felsic. And if not, your rock type, apply. And I'll make these, let's say like that. Whoops. I made a mistake somewhere there. That's totally my bad. But just pretend that this one is mafic and this one is to be determined. And this one is dark green, like this. Okay, so apologies for that. But here we have our samples divided into our mafic and intermediate and felsic. And I can also use my geology map and maybe make it a little bit transparent to see how well do this division match with my surface mapping. Okay, and then last but not least, I'll show another Geoscience Analyst Pro tool, and that will be the k-means clustering. So I'll go to Utilities, k-means clustering. And so with this simple and powerful algorithm, you can take a data science approach to group your data into a specified number of clusters. So here I'm going to do it on the same outcrop rock samples. And I'll also use zirconium and titanium oxide just to kind of follow with the exercise from before. And I'll name these rock type clusters 3. And I'll apply that. There it is, my rock type clusters. So you'll see it's been divided into 3 clusters, and here I have the cluster centers. And once again, I can compare that to my geology map and see how well that fit. And I can add more properties as well. Let's say I want to add my silica and also sodium and potassium. I can make 6 clusters. I'll just run that again. Apply. And here we have those 6 clusters. And again, you get their counts, you get their cluster centers. And you'll see you can also choose different cluster initialization and normalization. And yeah, so that's the k-mean clustering. And that's all I had planned for today.
Wow, thanks, Carla. That's some great work. I'll have to go download it this afternoon. Thank you to all of you who have joined us today. For those of you who are in the lecture, we'll give you about half a minute to type out any questions you may have. If you have any questions in the future, please do not hesitate to email us at support@mirageoscience.com. And we look forward to seeing you next month when Thomas Campaign will be demonstrating the useful applications using the scripting tool. So we did have a question about, of course, 2D lines in Geoscience Analyst for SEG-Y. And currently, I'll answer that one. Currently, we cannot import 2D lines, but we are working on the ability to be able to look at 2D data in the 3D environment. It looks like we have one more. Oh, great. Do you need the pro version for the k-means clustering application?
Yes.
Yes, yes, you do.
Oh, we have another one.
What are the spatial statistic options in Geoscience Analyst other than k-means clustering? Currently, that basically is our only spatial statistics built into Analyst. However, if you have Pro, actually, even if you don't have Pro, our GeoApps also does some clustering, and you can use Python and the GeoH5 Pi if you're a Python guru to interact with our workspace files and use whatever Python you'd like to be able to do any spatial statistics. And then if you have Pro, you can live link it so you could update it right away. All right, I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.